What is up, everyone? My name's Brenner. Welcome to my channel. This is Mr. Liquor Sipper, and today we're gonna do something a little bit different. I'm gonna give you guys some information about how alcohol actually manipulates and changes the human body. If you're interested in this, then let's find out. We're gonna go straight into it. Let's go. 85% of adults have drank alcohol in their lifetime. It's an extremely popular drug that decreases specific neuroexcitation within your brain with biological byproducts that have a huge impact on your body. But you have to wonder, what is better? Is it drinking in the day or is it drinking at night? 20% of alcohol is absorbed by the stomach, and then 80% of it goes to the small intestine, where it then goes to your bloodstream and then your liver, thus then becoming metabolized. After all that, ethanol then gets passed through the cells through a process called diffusion. It suppresses the excitatory neurotransmitter glutamate, which causes information transfer to the brain to become slower with only the largest signals passing through. You feel less, you perceive less, and then you notice less, and thus remember less. Day drinking alcohol won't allow you to complete your daily tasks. A check for day drinking is that we've been doing it for millions and millions of years, known as the drunk monkey hypothesis. The only reason you're able to drink alcohol right now, it dates all the way back to a gene mutation that occurred 10 million years ago in your ancestors. Had a mutation in their enzyme alcohol dehydrogenase. This made the enzyme 40 times more effective at actually metabolizing alcohol. This specific mutation in the alcoholic dehydrogenase meant no longer would small amounts of alcohol be poisonous to the human body, but now it could actually be a viable energy source. This hypothesis also recognizes that around 10 million years ago is when our common ancestors stopped living in the trees and then began living on the actual ground itself, and this new mutated alcohol metabolizing enzyme was beneficial as it made for copious amounts of fermenting fruit on the forest floor, accessible as a new dietary niche. But sometimes whenever I think about mutations, I think about terrible bad things, maybe mutations of cancer, or sometimes good things, like maybe mutations I'm gonna be an X-Man or I can be Spider-Man or something crazy. But in this case, this mutation is actually helpful for us humans to enjoy as much alcohol as we possibly can handle, bruh. Now, technically, drinking alcohol can actually increase your caloric energy, therefore giving you almost like a head rush, like you ate a bunch of sugar, or you had about 50,000 Twix, or you just had a bunch of coffee, or you act like me. Whatever the case is, sometimes they even call it, that liquid courage, if you will. So sometimes it can be fun, it can be good. Day drinking in that sort of aspect may actually end up hurting you, where you start winding down. You almost get like the crash effect that you would get from caffeine, and you start feeling lethargic, you start feeling tired, which thus can potentially hurt you as far as trying to be progressive throughout the day, which is why in some situations you may want to cater more towards drinking towards the evening. Any excited introversion you feel while drinking is due to the suppression of brain firing in the prefrontal cortex. This part of your brain controls your impulses and restrains behavior. Therefore, alcohol suppressing this inhibitory part of your brain causes you to loosen up, relax, and become a bit more extroverted. So this drunk extroversion won't last long because of your liver. And your liver is where the famous enzyme alcohol dehydrogenase lives. It breaks down the ethanol into acetaldehyde. The buildup of acetaldehyde causes incoordination, memory problems, and sleeplessness. So day drinking leads to these byproducts building in your body, where will potentially create some issues with your cognitive skills as far as understanding and maybe your responsiveness to certain things. Basically, potentially lose things, forget where you put stuff, lose all cognitive ability, your balance is impaired, and you feel maybe sedated. Kind of like as if you stayed the night unwillingly at Bill Cosby's house. Point against night drinking is that it negatively affects your sleep. Since we now know that alcohol inhibits the excitatory neurotransmitter glutamate, When alcohol leaves your system, the brain kind of overcorrects, and that's where there's a rebound of glutamate, which leads to excitability and irritation. Drinking at night means this excitability can happen when you're actually trying to sleep. This ends up dismantling your sleep through the night, cutting it up into tiny little bits, and it actually interrupts your sleep cycle. But you may be saying, but alcohol actually helps me sleep. But electrical brainwaves show that sleeping while intoxicated is not natural sleep itself. It's more of like a sedated, similar to anesthesia. In fact, alcohol is more of the strongest sedatives of the integral REM sleep, the type of sleep which causes dreams. When the liver metabolizes alcohol, it produces ketones and aldehydes. The aldehydes itself block the brainwaves needed to generate this powerful REM or REM sleep, which is where you dream, which can actually have an astounding effect on your sleep itself. And REM sleep is essential for a lot of how your body functions, your brain, including memory and association with health. REM sleep is so essential for a lot of functions in your body and in your brain, including memory and association. One study got a group of college students together to study them for a week. On day one, they learned a novel computer programming language or a new form of algebra. By the end of day one, they were tested and all had a proficiency of understanding around 90%. Over the coming week, a control group slept naturally. A second group got a little drunk every night before bed on 2 to 3 shots of whiskey, which was based on their body weight, and a third group slept naturally on day 1 to day 2, and then had alcohol before bed starting on day 3. 7 days later, and they were all tested again. People in that group, in that control group, remembered everything that they had learned and showed enhanced abstraction and retention of knowledge. The group who drank before bed since day 1 forgot more than 50% of their knowledge. And then the last group that started drinking after day 2 forgot about 40% of their knowledge. So day drinking actually allows your body enough time to metabolize the alcohol so you can get more sleep or better sleep. Does the type of alcohol that you're drinking actually affect how you enjoy it? One survey found individuals reported higher negative expectancies after drinking shots of distilled spirits and higher positive expectancies after drinking wine and beer. Another study found that 29.8% of respondents reported feeling aggressive when drinking spirits. Okay, so there's no actual real evidence, no physiological evidence that proves that specific alcohols will actually determine a specific attitude or a specific emotion that can be evoked from drinking that. Now, that being said, you can have a situation where, you know, it's gonna be Sunday and you're already kind of in a bad mood because you gotta go to work the next day. It's Monday, nobody likes Mondays. So things like that, your attitude about drinking and your attitude before drinking can actually have more of an implication as to you drinking as opposed to the actual alcohol itself. So it's more of a mindset deal. So food plays a huge role in how alcohol is absorbed. If you have food in your stomach, it absorbs some of the alcohol instead of going directly into the bloodstream, and physically slows it down from reaching the small intestines. This is where the large surface area of a lot of alcohol is absorbed very quickly. So day drinking with food means you get drunk less fast, basically. Now personally, if you're asking me how would I actually like to drink or what is the best policy for drinking, I would say you start at around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and then you drink into the evening, making sure that your mood is quite pleasant and you have a nice full stomach full of food, and that will help you enjoy your time. Also making sure either A, you really love your job, or B, you're not having to work the next day because you hate your job, so you need to enjoy that weekend or that next day off, whatever the case is. Thank you for joining me today in this weird episode of Fun Facts with me, Brenner, Mr. Liquor Sipper. So, without further ado, don't forget to tell your friends, tell your homies, tell everyone in between about this underground hidden gem of a YouTube channel where we get down and dirty. We get down and frisky. This is the lewd and crude, most outrageous whiskey channel on YouTube. So until next time, cheers. I don't have a glass here, but keep on sipping.